Awesome Music Teacher here, back to give you, my friends on the internet, another guitar lesson. And this time we're doing Robert Johnson. I'm going to do a number of his intro licks to show you guys kind of the theoretical aspect of what he's done, and to give you something to practice that isn't too long, that'll make you better at your fingerstyle blues. Now, if you're not a fingerstyle blues player, that's okay. Stick around with the channel because we're going to have folk and classical guitar as well, and also lots of music theory. I might get into ear training soon, but today we are talking about Robert Johnson's fingerstyle blues. And specifically, we're doing Hellhound on My Trail, just the intro lick to it that you just heard. Now, this lick is based off of a pretty common type of blues pattern. It's fairly simple to explain as far as the theory goes. And I wanted to tell you that if you want the tabs or sheet music, I have a link to the book on Amazon below. Full disclosure, this is an affiliate link, so you will, chip in a couple bucks for me buying it through that link. You can buy it through the link or not through the link, whatever, but I will not be providing tabs and sheet music to you guys for free. You're going to need to pay for your sheet music or go pirate it from someone else. So without further ado, let's first dive into the structure, and then we're going to see how he fleshes out this structure in a really, really inventive and cool way. Okay, so first let's explore how he actually crafts this lick, starting with how the guitar is tuned, because this is not standard tuning. And then we're going to go to what blues scale he's using and how he's using it. So first thing is first, how is this guitar tuned? We are in actually open E minor tuning, which, not terribly common, but it's not too difficult to get your mind around. So the way that this goes is we have our low E, stays the same. This A has been tuned up a whole step to B. This D has been tuned up a whole step to E. And our G, B, and E are the same. So these two strings, the A and the D, are now B and E. They've been tuned up a whole step. Now when you do this, it's going to feel like they're getting a little tight, but don't worry, your guitar can handle it. But if you do break a string, it means that you went too tight, so make sure that you don't start at a higher level than what your guitar is supposed to take. This is a really nice and expensive guitar, so I'm sure it can take any level of stress that I throw at it, but not all guitars are so tough. Okay, so let's talk about what scale and key we're using. He's in E major here, which is interesting because we're in open E minor. But he's using E major, and pretty, throughout the song, he's using his E minor pentatonic, but also throwing some E major in there. So what do we need to know first to kind of start breaking down this song? Well, first off, you need to know your E major scale, and you need to know your E minor pentatonic scale, right? And if you need any help with that type of stuff, well, one, you can check out my music theory video. It's somewhere at 1.7 million views. People watch it. It's a good video. And also, you can just Google it. Now, I'm going to run through what the scale degrees are really quickly, and then we're going to talk about how he does this. So in E major, of course, our first scale degree is an E, which in this case is this open string, or this open string, or that open string, right? Our second scale degree is an F sharp. And actually, sorry, this is our F sharp because we're tuned up a whole step. So there's our F sharp, and then we get a G sharp, and then we get an A, right? And then we get our B, which is our fifth scale degree. C sharp is our sixth, D sharp is our seventh, and E back to our 1. Now, this being the blues, we're not really sticking to the E major scale 100% all the way through because it would just be too pretty, and the blues is supposed to be a little grittier than that. So he's going to be actually using E major as the harmony, but all the scale work is going to be dancing between E minor pentatonic and E major. So what is E minor pentatonic? Well, one, it's probably the most commonly used scale for people playing steel-strung acoustic guitars. Just about everybody knows it, and we're not going to cover it in terms of what's the finger shape. If you follow this channel, I don't really care to teach finger shapes. I think it's boring. There's enough of those videos out there already. Just look it up. That's just the easiest stuff on the planet. But we do want to cover what notes are in the scale and how does he use those, and we'll reference them as scale degrees to put together this lick. So first off, pentatonic means that we have 5 notes rather than 7, okay? And it's based off of E minor and not major. So blues is going to mix your major and minor pretty often to give you that type of gritty sound. So first off, our first scale degree is E, right? Now, if this was just E minor, we would have an F sharp, but in this case, this is E minor pentatonic, and F sharp is one of the notes that we remove. So our next scale degree is G. We have A and B. We remove the C, and then we have D natural and E again. So E, G, A, B, D, E. That's your pentatonic scale. Now, of course, he does use the C, and you'll also find that the F sharp is in use as well. That's because, well, you know, the rules are not so strict. You know, these are just the structure that we work in. You can actually break the rules all you want, and that's pretty expected in blues. Now, let's keep in mind our 5th scale degree is B. That's a really important thing to remember, because what he does here at the beginning is actually a really common blues technique where you start on the 5th scale degree, RB, and you move down chromatically. That is, I mean, that's really the structure of this first bit. So we have B, and then B flat, and then A, and then instead of going directly to G sharp, we're going to go G, hammer on to G sharp. Now, if you were to think about how would you describe that if we were in E major? Well, that's our flat 3 hammering onto our regular 3. So we have bum, 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 ba-rum, bum. Now, that's, I mean, if you've ever listened to the blues, then you've heard that kind of lick. Now, what did Robert Johnson do with it? Because this, you know, this is the Jesus of blues, basically. Well, Robert Johnson harmonized it. So our first chord here is B, D, and G sharp, right? This is actually a G sharp diminished chord. And he actually takes this chord and moves it down, and then he goes to our A minor, right? So we're taking a diminished chord and just moving it down chromatically. So we have G sharp diminished, and then G diminished, and then A minor to F sharp diminished, and then he does his little hammer on there. So we have an E minor, hammer on makes it an E major. And then what he does is he takes a nice little swing rhythm, which if you're not familiar with swing, it basically, you're taking your straight eighth notes, it would be 1 and 2 and, right? And we're doing 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we were doing 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So we're doing that type of rhythm, and he's just taking this down and decorating it, taking the diminished chord, moving it backwards, and throwing in the open string. Right? So that's the beginning, and I'm going to let you guys take a look at the sheet music, which is linked below if you want to know exactly how to play this. But if you just stick to that rhythm, you can kind of play it any way you like, because this is the blues. Hey guys, Ross the music teacher here. Just a quick interruption of the lesson video. We'll get right back to it. But I just want to let you know that my popular music theory video is now a web app that I coded myself using JavaScript. So the book content is entirely free on the internet now at musictheoryinonelesson.com, and as time goes by, I will be adding more and more music theory games to help you guys get good at music theory by using your phone and just playing games and enjoying the process of memorizing this stuff. So please check it out, and you can also check out the book on Amazon, which is of course linked below. Now, as he goes through those diminished chords going down, he switches to having a bass note, and we have this, right? And what happens is now we're going to take this chromatic line from D. We go D, D flat, C, B. And that brings us back to our 1, kind of coming full circle for that intro. So what we have is bum, 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 and then bum, 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 and that's it. That's what he's doing, and then he's decorating it. And the way that he decorates this is he's using his top high E string for triplets. So we're doing and doing another hammer on. He actually does a nice little double hammer on to the G sharp and the D, and you have your third finger here for the C sharp. Now here in a minute I'm going to run you through this kind of step by step, but that's overall what's going on. As you can see, it's a fairly straightforward thing, and theoretically speaking, you know, we're in E and he's going 5 down to the 1, and then we're doing 7 down to the 5, but harmonizing it with a 1. So not the most complicated thing, theoretically speaking, but now to play it is another whole other thing, right? So this is, I would say this is probably middle to high intermediate in terms of finger style skill required. And we're gonna kind of run through how to do this. Let me open my book, because I'm always sight reading when I do these videos. I play it a few times before I make the video, but I've invested a lot of time into my sight reading ability, and therefore I milk it if I can, because I don't want to sit here and memorize something for 1,000 years just to show it to you guys. I'll read it as I go. So what we're going to be doing is first we're playing this G string with our thumb, and then we're going to be doing all 3. So it's bum bum, and then we're going to use just the 2 high strings, 3 again. So we go bum 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 bum, bum 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 bum, and then an open high E, and then we slide this diminished chord back here to our G diminished. So we have bum 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 bum, and we're leaving the open E here, and then we place down, and this is actually notated as an F double sharp, which makes good sense. Because we're moving chromatically, so technically speaking you'd call this an F double sharp diminished, but we can just call it a G diminished. So bum 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 bum, and then 2 open strings, and then to our A minor, which is going to become an F sharp diminished here in a second. So bum 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 bum, and then what we have here is we're going to be doing a, now that's a hammer on and pull off of the F sharp, bum bum bum, and then we're doing all open strings, and what you're going to do is you're going to hammer onto your first fret and play with your thumb at the same time. So we have, right, so we have bum 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 bum, like so. Now after that we have, we're gonna hit open high E, and we're gonna start doing these triplets. So first off we're getting our A, which is now B string, our B string and high E string all at the same time. It is gonna be triplet, right? And we're gonna move the bass note down, triplet, and we're gonna get our E string at the same time too with this one. And then we're gonna move it down another half step. I just move my finger like this. A lot of people might go like that, but I find it easier just to slide my finger. I go dun dun dun, and what you do after that is you hit all the open, so you get your low open E, your open G natural, and then second fret of that B string and open high E, and you hammer on to the first fret of the G string, and then also your pinky on the third fret of the B, kind of like a double hammer, right? We have triplet, dum bum bum, triplet, bum bum bum. Right, so fairly straightforward. Now, if you really want to get to the nitty gritty and go through the sheet music, I guarantee you you'll be happy with your purchase of this the book that has all of Robert Johnson's stuff. I bought it. I'm happy that I bought it. The link is below. Now, guys, this is a video that went maybe a little bit longer than I hoped. I'm going to be putting out one lesson a week. Next week is going to be Fernando Soares' Opus 60. I believe it's number 14 I might be on or something like that. But I'm going to finish up the Opus 60 series. What a great set of pieces. And the week after that, I'm going to go in depth into chord inversions. Now, if you want anything else run through, I really don't care what it is. I've got classical training, so I can play whatever you throw at me. So let me know what you guys want to learn down below. I would prefer not to teach AC/DC and Eagles songs. I really don't like that stuff. And I just would, Party Marty has a channel. Go check out Party Marty and people like that. I'm looking to get more into the nitty gritty and the very, very high skilled stuff, not the other stuff. Also have some Chet Atkins coming up. There was a guy that challenged me to learn some Chet Atkins stuff. I took many months off practice to learn JavaScript and how to code websites so that I can make music theory games. So as I get back into things, I'll pick up that Chet Atkins song as well. If any of my Patreons, which you can join my Patreon below as a patron, if you have a request, leave the request under my Patreon. I might take some requests from down there in the comments, but you know what? These videos take a lot of work, and I'm a very highly skilled person, so I deserve reimbursement. If you want to really be in a place where you can request new videos, the Patreon's the place to do it. Otherwise, guys, hey, have a great practice session, and do some playing, because there's a difference between practice and play this evening. And just enjoy it. Music is a beautiful experience, and you should do it every day. Have a good one.